All right, on this episode of the Find series, we're talking about the importance of keeping your eyes open, the value of being bold, and our truck buying philosophy. This is the Roadside Find. So, last week me and Sean were ripping up to Wyoming and Montana to visit some cool people and drop off some cool scout parts. So we did all that, and then on the way back we had an empty trailer. I'm like, dang, wouldn't it be awesome if we could find a truck to bring back home? And that usually never happens because you start checking Facebook and Craigslist, but the odds of finding a truck that's along the route we're going and then the owner can meet up at the same time we're in that town, it just doesn't. And plus it has to be a solid truck at a decent price. So all those things on like a blitz style road trip just typically don't happen. Pre-planning, you could maybe make it happen, but it's not very often that works out. But nonetheless, we were keeping our eyes open, cruising along the road. And a couple hours after we started headed back to Iowa, we're just looking around like, oh, there's a truck. So we decided, what the heck, let's just go check it out. Pulled off, swooped around, started talking to some people that were in the parking lot. Like, hey, do you guys know anything about that vehicle? And they said like, oh yeah, that's, I don't know, his name was Scooter or something. Like, that's Scooter's. He works in the motorcycle dealership. And so Sean popped in there, started chatting him up, said, hey, are you interested in selling that? And sure enough, he was interested. So we went back out, started checking it out, seeing what's good, what's bad. Just asked him what he wanted for a price, what he was thinking on that. And so he threw out a number. And I'll just tell you guys, he threw out $1,000, which for us, this truck, just to ship it from Montana would be $800 to $1,000. So for us, that's a great deal to just be able to get a truck. We got an empty trailer, we're going that way. So it's almost free to us. So great deal. So from finding it to agreeing on a price to getting cash and loading it up was probably like a half hour, 45 minutes. One of the most efficient vehicle purchases of my life. Even from like when I'm going to a specific place to buy a specific vehicle at a guaranteed price, it almost takes longer. So it's a pretty sweet find, pretty efficient process. Got it on the trailer, started ripping down the road. So now I mentioned that we checked it over. So some of those things, and we've seen some of the other find videos, so some of the classic stuff, rockers, quarter panels, cab mounts, wedges, kind of checking those classic areas. And you may notice a lot of our trucks that we buy are original paint trucks. And so this is more of our philosophy, is original paint trucks may not be as, they might not be as flashy and showy. You'll see a lot of these shiny trucks popping up on eBay and those classic truck reseller groups. Look great from 15 feet away, but a lot of them are just slap job painters on there. They're made to look good. Because if you think about it, at the core of their business, if it looks cool, it sells. They don't care about longevity or how it drives. They just want to get it out the door. So that's, with the original paint trucks, we know what's underneath. It might be busted up, but we know what we're looking at. Whereas a repainted truck, and again, they're not all like this, but you just don't know. So you have to proceed with caution when you see a repainted truck. So our philosophy, original painted trucks, we know exactly what we're getting and what needs to be repaired. So on this truck, you can see really good original paint. There's some little touch-up job around the rear quarter, I think. That was the only spot that I saw. But otherwise, kind of rusty a little bit here and there. Needs quarters, floors, some of the rear floor, classic stuff. But we know what we're getting into, and that's the important thing, is there's not going to be any surprises down the road. So for us, that makes it a solid buy. The other thing we saw, peeking in here, there's no engine. A lot of people, that's a huge turn off, value goes way down. For us, we're probably going to be doing an LS drivetrain conversion anyways, so no engine is actually a benefit. It honestly saves us work of taking out a busted engine, and we get it for a lower price because the value is not as high because it doesn't run and drive and so that kind of stuff. So that's a classic. This is, I don't know if you guys know this grill, give you time to guess. 71, 72 grill. So this one is a 71, which means it's going to have a Dana 30 front axle, drum brakes, manual steering. So those are things, as you're looking at it, you're probably going to want to upgrade to a Dana 44, front disc brakes, power steering. So those will add some costs, but 71, for those of you who live in California and some of those other states, pre-smog, so there's some value there. So that's something to think about as well. Trade-offs. You just got to check it out. If you got any questions about this, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to get to that kind of stuff and try to answer whatever you got there. Overall, good truck, good buy. Had a fun time doing it. Great road trip with Sean. Kept our eyes open as we're cruising around. Got this. A couple hours later, after we got this, Sean was doing his best to keep his eyes open, cruising down the road through Montana and South Dakota, because there were literally hundreds of deer on the road. And I try not to exaggerate, but I would say hundreds of deer. And sure enough, close to midnight, Sean smoked one of them. Absolutely smoked it. And you show the front headlight of the Suburban, clipped it on the front, spun around, hit the passenger door of the truck, put some dingus con in there, but didn't get up in here, so that's good. Scout was saved, so no problem there. But keeping your eyes open, being bold, talking to people, asking questions, you know, getting in there. You never know who's going to sell what or what's going to happen, so getting after it that way. And then if you can, man, original paint trucks, that's our style. Otherwise, proceed with caution when you see a repainted truck. So I think that'll about do it for this find, man. We still have our top people trying to crack the algorithm of YouTube, but in the meantime, go ahead and like and subscribe and do all that other stuff. So thanks, guys. Peace. Okay, you stuck around this far. That's amazing. If you remember, if you saw one of the other finds videos, I was talking about the rear lift gate and how perfectly straight it was, meaning it didn't see a lot of action. You'll notice this one has a decent amount of bow, so it's seen some life. And then if you cruise with me up to the front, we can see one of the sweetest hood emblems known to man. If you guys know what that is, comment below. We'll see who can tell it. And then one other correction. This actually does have power steering. I thought it had manual steering, but it's got power steering. So, all right, that's it.